Hey there, Boys Staters, and welcome to another episode of the Whirlpool, keeping Boys State in the loop since 2018. Here today we have your newly elected governor, Ben Shapiro. Just kidding. Senate Lowe. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty great. Just got elected, starting to run the government. Things looking pretty good.
Awesome. We hear you got a new state bird.
Yeah, we do have a new state bird, actually. We're going for the phoenix as our state bird. It represents the rebirth that we see in Boys State every year.
Wow, that's
kind
great.
of rises from the ashes.
Yeah,
I like that.
Plus, Boys State is a mythical state, so we can pick a mythical bird.
Are you trying to say phoenixes are unreal? I definitely saw one last week, man. Come on.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. I was mistaken a little bit.
So anyways, we know you've been answering a lot of tough questions over the past couple of days. So, the civilians of Boys State, they know how you stand on a lot of issues. So, we got you here today. We want to take some time to answer the questions that Boys Staters really want to know. Let's get started, man.
All right.
So, one of our first questions is, I'm going to read this one off the sheet. One of the hottest topics at Boys State is the legalization of marijuana as a form of revenue for the state. Curious for your stance on this topic, one concerned citizen would like to know, you gonna give me that weed, G? And that is a direct quote.
Well, I am going to give him that weed. I think the legalization of marijuana is something we really need in our city. It's in our state, actually, not just in cities. It's something that generates a lot of revenue for the state. Like, I've done some preliminary research into how much it would be comparing, if we sold it at a similar rate for person to money for states like Colorado, Oregon, or California. And it looks like it would make around 200 million on the low end to around 720 million on the high end. So hopefully I can submit something where we can start getting that going, working with the Senate, so we can get weed out to everybody who needs to smoke something.
That's a lot of money, too.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. The state government will still be in debt even if we get the 720 million, but only a little bit.
This guy seems to know a lot about weed, man.
Yeah, where do you learn so much about weed?
No answer. We're not gonna answer that one. Question 2, Chase. I'll take that one.
All right, question number 2 comes from another concerned voter, and he says, "Do you dream at night? And if yes, what do you dream?"
Dreaming, it's something that I love to do. You go to sleep, you have all kinds of weird, wild adventures, and you wake up. Sometimes you remember them, sometimes you don't. I remember probably the most vivid dream I had was actually kind of more of sitting in on a horror movie. And it was pretty cool, actually. It was this thing where it was a really long, lanky skeleton kind of thing with giant hands and with giant hands and feet. And then whenever you saw it, you couldn't move. So and they move really slowly. And it just reached in grabbed somebody and then slowly walked away. And most of the dream was just watching it walk away. And I was like, that's a cool idea for a movie monster.
There you have it.
All right. So now we know. He does dream at night. And we know what he dreams about.
All right, yeah. So question number 3. All right, this is an interesting one here. Somebody from the National Party was, following the elections, kind of listening to both candidates speak and all that stuff. He's like, man, these guys are always yelling at me. They're telling me what to do. And he wants to know, can you stop yelling at me? That's what he said. Direct quote again. Can you stop yelling at me?
I will certainly try to stop yelling at him. I don't know if he's talking about me specifically. I'll definitely, try to talk out things pretty calmly, pretty rationally, but, obviously I'm passionate about things. I'm sure other people are passionate about things, and there might be some yelling here and there, but I think as long as we remain respectful, I'll try to stop yelling, but you might have to yell at him.
As long as the yelling comes from passion and not anger, I guess.
Yelling worked pretty good for him, man. He is our new governor, so...
Yeah, you gotta be good at yelling, so you can get his attention.
Alright, let's move on to number 4. I'm gonna take this one, too. We at Boys State, we consist of about 290 young male citizens. A lot of us are rather concerned. There's some, in Madison especially. What is your stance on strip clubs in Boys State?
I think strip clubs are something we kind of have to look at on a case-by-case basis. Obviously it would help with the economy of Madison, especially since, they've got a bunch of beachfront property, they got a bunch of casinos, they're already pretty much Las Vegas, so why not just add on the strip clubs? But, at the same time, that might discourage families from going to beaches. They don't want to be walking around seeing nude women everywhere if there's just families in Madison. So, it's a balance. I'd like to have strip clubs in Madison, but, so it might not be able to happen. I guess we'll have to see, what we do with the state, what we do with the legislature, and see if we can get that stuff passed.
All right, Madison, stay tuned.
Question number 5. If you could have any superpower, what superpower would you have?
So it's kind of a little weird, but the superpower that I'd like to have is called subatomic reconstruction, where essentially like
that's why he's the governor. He uses words like that right there. That went over my head. So
it's essentially like you rearrange like the parts of an atom. So like you can change
Okay.
anything into anything. Like you could turn like your hand into lead, or like turn this table into gold, because you can like rearrange all like the protons, neutrons, and electrons and atoms.
sounds like it would solve our debt problem here in Boy State.
Oh, it
Yeah.
sure would.
It would at first, and then you just flood the market with like tons of gold and stuff.
He's always thinking ahead. Even that doesn't work. All right, I'm gonna get our final question here. This is number 6. Final question.
The most important question.
Most important question. Everybody at Boy State wants to know the answer to this question. This is the most important question you've been asked the past 2 days, and it may actually affect if you continue to be governor or not.
Could be an impeachment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is water wet?
No, this is a very serious question. This is something I'm surprised didn't come up when I was running for governor.
Very
For
true.
like any of the candidates, I don't think we ever got this question. It's something that's incredibly important. I do not believe that water is wet.
Oh, okay.
I think that wet is an adjective. It's a term used to describe something. Water can't really be wet, because wet is only something that goes on to other things. You can get a shirt wet, you can get a window wet, you can get yourself wet, but you can't really get water wet, because there's no way to say that water is more wet. Like you've got a cup of water, you add a ton of water to that. That water is no more wet than it was originally. So I think since we can't really change the level of how wet something is if it's a liquid, then I think that water is not wet. I think that water is in fact dry.
It's really hard to
Water
argue
is
with that.
dry. Okay.
It's not wet, at least.
That might be a headline in tomorrow's paper.
Water's
dry. You're a new governor. No, that was a very well answered question. I think we're gonna.
I got something I'd like to talk about that's from my own
okay.
city. And this is a debate that I'd like to start all over campus if it's possible. But we were really curious whether a hot dog is a sandwich or not. We came to the conclusion that it is not a sandwich.
This is
and that there's-
unscripted, by the way. This is all him.
This is only important. I know everybody in Washington knows what I'm talking about. So we kind of have it in 4 categories for stuff. There's ballpark food, which is like corn dogs and stuff, like stuff you eat in ballparks, Then you've got sandwiches, which are 2 pieces of bread, like two pieces of grain on each side of whatever combination you have in between. Then there's stuff like hot dogs and tacos, where it's on 3 sides, or if it's like one bun specifically. And then there's also wraps. This would be like burritos, wraps, those kind of things where bread is completely surrounding whatever's inside of it. So that's a debate I'd like to get going everywhere. That is a hot dog a sandwich? Is it not a sandwich? I'd like to know all of your opinions.
Excellent. Well, I think thanks for coming and joining us on the Whirlpool today, and thank you for your time and good luck as governor.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure being on the Whirlpool.
In the comments below, tell us if a hot dog is a sandwich or not. That ends this episode of the Whirlpool.
Feel free to leave any ideas or feedback in the comments.
And join us tomorrow for Brutally Honest News.
Thank you.
See ya.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.